Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Do you ever get the feeling that the time has come to draw a line in the sand, to choose up sides, well, you get the idea. It's time for the bishops in America, the fence straddlers, to stand up and be counted. They avoid controversy like it was the worst experience possible. No, Your Excellencies, hell is the worst experience possible. And although practically none of you would ever broach the topic in public for fear of being made fun of, or whatever your fear is, hell does exist. As the Pope told you last week, start using your shepherd's staffs, that is if you can find them, and start throwing the heretical bums out. And please, no talk and lingering, lofty, high-minded, nuanced discussion about some obscure theological point of Section 3, Article 9, Canon Law 4957, Paragraph 6. Stop huddling with your finance committees and your parish closing teams and pick up your heads and look around. Your church, at least the one you're responsible for, is, as great Catholic thinkers have called it, a devastated vineyard in a desolate city, and you are responsible, personally and collectively. No wonder you don't like the talk of hell. You don't want to think about the millions of souls that may very well have ended there on your watch because of your deafening silence. You have allowed the faith to be marginalized and become an object of scorn and ridicule by not getting rid of bad priests, and by bad, I mean priests who have been unfaithful to the teachings of the Church, who week after week corrupt the minds of the remaining handful of Catholics, that is, those who still darken the door of their parish. You continue to curry favor with the rich and powerful and the famous and the celebrated. Do you think they will save you when you stand before the Supreme Shepherd? They will not. You have, as the Psalms say, put your faith in princes. They have no power to save. Many of the bishops in America and Europe today are little else than blind guides. They've either lost the faith personally or so obscured it interiorly that little short of a miracle will bring them back. They sit atop a shrinking empire, figuring out how to silence their critics and, of course, raise even more funds, always the money, to promote this program or that. But they do not teach. They don't teach the faith, that is. They nod and look the other way when public heretics approach for Holy Communion. They promote and praise Catholics who openly dissent from even their own directives, as we've now seen by the promotion of John Garvey to the head of the Catholic University of America. They preach social justice as though it's the end of the world, but seem to actually forget that there will be an end of the world. They persecute faithful priests, refuse to address or respond to faithful Catholics, distressed and grieving over their lack of leadership. They delegate decision-making to a small inner circle of uncaring bureaucrats who are little else than seat warmers. They will not do what needs to be done to lead the faithful. They will not draw that line in the sand for fear or certain knowledge that they themselves would be on the wrong side. I'd like to share a little poem we received from a priest. Yes, a priest. Many of whom know that every bit of this, what we've said and much more, is spot on. Here's his assessment. We're going to ecumenize and modernize the church, with rites so all-embracing no one could ever besmirch. Their small c Catholic and wholly comprehensive search to find a branch of worship on which everyone can perch. We'll be as all-inclusive as it's possible to get, only bad theologies which no one's thought of yet. There's room for Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Jew, and Baptist wet, and our creed will be no heathen here, just friends we haven't met. Our marriage rites will serve to bond together straight or gay, but if they'd rather just cohabit, well, that will be okay, because it isn't fair to try and make them think our way, or to imply there's any right or rule they must obey. And if our current practices should ever give offense, electives and alternatives will instantly commence, as optional replacements to dispel all dissidence. For God, if such there be, loves only practical good sense. We'll take no negative approach condemning sin or vice, for each of us must find the way to enter paradise. Never hurt one's feelings is a rule that will suffice, and our one commandment, graven bold, will read, "Thou shalt be nice." They should turn that into the oath for modernist bishops, but they apparently already have one. Most of these men are getting on in years. Do they not think that one day they will have to give an account? This past weekend, a Baptist by the name of Armstrong Williams wrote an editorial in the Washington Times bemoaning the lack of leadership on the part of Catholic bishops in helping pull America out of its moral quagmire. You can read it by clicking right here for yourself. When laity and priests and the Pope and even Protestants, yes, Protestants, are all saying to the bishops, you need to shape up, maybe it's time you did. And I'm sure they will, right after they close another 30 or so parishes and launch the next diocesan-wide fundraiser. After all, they certainly don't waste any time on all that silly stuff like teaching and saving souls. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.